Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. Their withdrawals from the Pro Bowl left a void, one that the NFL filled not with the next best passer, but with Shedeur Sanders. On paper, his season didn't belong in that tier. Yet Sanders' name lit up the announcement, sparking a backlash led by Rex Ryan, who declared the choice an embarrassment. But then came the twist. Sanders wasn't selected for being the best. He was selected because he made people talk. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. The ESPN panel didn't hide it. They labeled him a star character in a show engineered to attract eyes. Ryan's fury, it turned out, was misfired, rooted in assumptions about an institution that had already changed. This moment wasn't just about one player getting heat. It exposed a rift between legacy definitions of success and the NFL's current playbook. Sanders became a lightning rod not because of what he did, but because of what he represented. In an age where controversy sells, his presence was a product, and he handled it with a poise most veterans still struggle to find. Shedeur Sanders has finally responded after being dragged into one of the most bizarre public controversies of the NFL season, and his words cut through the noise like a scalpel. But this isn't just about one rookie quarterback. This is about a cultural shift in professional sports, a generational collision between old-school standards and new-school strategy, and a former NFL head coach who got caught twisting the truth and then tried to reframe the entire narrative to save face. This all started with what should have been a routine Pro Bowl alternate selection. Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes, three of the league's top quarterbacks, were ruled out due to injury and Super Bowl commitments. So, the AFC needed bodies. Enter Shedeur Sanders. But this wasn't your standard injury replacement. Sanders is a rookie. His stats were, by all traditional standards, rough. 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, a completion rate of 56.6%, and a 3-4 record. He ranked dead last among qualifying quarterbacks in all the major metrics: completion percentage, TD to INT ratio, QBR. On paper, it looked bad. So when his name landed on the Pro Bowl roster, the reaction was swift and brutal. And leading the charge, Rex Ryan. Ryan called the decision embarrassing. He called it a joke. He said Sanders didn't deserve it, that this was the NFL lowering its standards, that it was all about hype and not about merit. Then he went further, reportedly suggesting that Sanders was somehow behind it, that this was self-promotion disguised as achievement, that Sanders wanted the honor more than he earned it. But then came the ESPN panel, and they lit up the entire conversation with one uncomfortable fact. The Pro Bowl is no longer what people think it is. It's not about pure football anymore. It's not about rewarding the best performers. The modern Pro Bowl is a broadcast product, a television event, a flag football indoor scripted entertainment show airing on multiple networks, designed to maximize ratings and audience engagement. And in that context, Shedeur Sanders wasn't selected because he had an elite season. He was selected because he's a compelling character. He brings clicks. He brings comments. He brings polarizing energy, the kind that makes people tune in whether they support him or not. As one panelist said, all the people who are dragging him are going to be watching Pro Bowl now because of him. That's not speculation. That's the model. Shedeur was chosen not despite the backlash, but because of it. And this is where things got messy for Rex Ryan. Because once it became clear that the NFL made this call on its own for entertainment value, not because Sanders lobbied, not because he begged, not because of any backroom favor trading, Ryan's entire argument collapsed. But instead of owning the mistake, he reportedly shifted gears. Now, the issue wasn't Shedeur. It was the name Pro Bowl itself. Ryan argued that if this is just a media production, it shouldn't carry the legacy title. Suddenly, it was about semantics. The meaning of the name. A total pivot. It was an obvious attempt to save face, to move the goalposts after being caught misrepresenting both the process and Sanders' role in it. The implication that Shedeur had maneuvered his way into the event? False. The idea that the Pro Bowl is still about honoring the best performers? Outdated. Because the truth is, the league is playing a different game now, and Shedeur Sanders is the proof. He didn't ask for this spotlight. The NFL gave it to him. He didn't break any rules. He accepted an invitation. He didn't throw shade at other quarterbacks. He stayed professional. And when the criticism came pouring in, he didn't rant. He didn't post passive-aggressive tweets. He gave a calm, respectful statement. He said, "Thank you." He said he was proud to represent Cleveland. He said he looked forward to learning from some of the league's best. It was a model response, especially given the intensity of the criticism. And behind the scenes, according to reports, Sanders made one thing clear. My resume will say Pro Bowler, and their resume will say bitter critic. That one line did more damage than any viral response could, because it reminded everyone of the reality. The official record matters. Public outrage fades. But the title stays. Years from now, people will scan the 2024 Pro Bowl roster and see Sanders' name. No asterisk, no footnote, just the title. And no amount of cable segment rants will erase that. The critics try to turn this into a referendum on what the Pro Bowl should be. But what this moment exposed is what the Pro Bowl already is. A vehicle for entertainment. A platform for marketable talent. A stage not just for production, but for presence. And Shedeur's presence generates attention. Even if it's divisive, the league knows exactly what it's doing. This wasn't a fluke. This was a strategic selection. A business decision. And that's the uncomfortable truth. The rules have changed. The NFL is no longer just rewarding past performance. It's rewarding relevance. And Shedeur Sanders, whether you love him, hate him, or don't understand the hype, is relevant. That relevance doesn't excuse a subpar season. It doesn't rewrite the stats. But it does explain the logic. And more importantly, it reveals the direction the league is heading. Because Shedeur's selection isn't the exception. It's the preview. In a world where players are brands and games are multimedia content, decisions like this will only become more common. The league is watching engagement data, not just yardage. They're analyzing media reach, not just passer ratings. And it's not just about Pro Bowl picks. This thinking is going to shape everything. Future contracts, endorsements, media appearances. Athletes are now valued by what they bring to the field and to the feed. So for Rex Ryan and others still clinging to the old playbook, this moment hit hard because it confirmed that the game passed them by. Not the football game, the business game. And Sanders? He didn't have to shout that. He just had to accept the invite, handle the backlash, and walk away with his head high, which he did. The lesson here isn't that stats don't matter anymore. It's that they don't tell the full story. Not in a league that's blending performance with narrative. Not in a system that's learned controversy can be as profitable as excellence. And while Shedeur may not have had a dominant rookie season on the field, what he did show is a level of composure and clarity that even veteran players struggle to maintain. That's value. That's maturity. That's the kind of presence the NFL wants on its stage. So the next time the Pro Bowl roster drops and a name surprises you, look beyond the stat sheet. Ask yourself what role that player plays in the league's broader strategy. Because if this story proved anything, it's that value in today's NFL is measured on more than one axis. Let us know what you think. Was Shedeur Sanders fairly selected in the context of what the Pro Bowl has become? Did Rex Ryan owe him a real apology instead of semantic pivot? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like this, if you're following the evolution of the league, share it with someone stuck in the old school mindset. And subscribe so you don't miss the next major meltdown on the sports media front lines. Because if this controversy taught us anything, it's that legacy is no longer just built on performance. It's built on presence. And Shedeur? He's already on the board. The fallout from Shedeur Sanders' Pro Bowl selection didn't just spark debate. It lit a fuse on the entire concept of meritocracy in the NFL. What was once seen as a postseason honor reserved for the elite is now being openly treated like a casting call. And while some fans are still stuck shouting about stats, the league has already shifted its focus to something far more lucrative: attention. And Shedeur? He became the flashpoint for that transition. Let's be clear, this wasn't about a young quarterback trying to cut corners. Shedeur didn't petition the league. He didn't grease palms. He didn't manipulate anything. He was invited by the NFL. Period. And that detail alone should have shut down the idea that he somehow stole a spot. But it didn't. Because critics weren't really mad at Sanders. They were mad at what he represented. The uncomfortable truth that the game is no longer just a game. Rex Ryan's reaction perfectly captured the old guard's panic. He saw Sanders' name on the Pro Bowl list and launched into a full-blown meltdown, calling it embarrassing and a joke. It wasn't just criticism. It was a public performance. He positioned Sanders' selection as a symptom of the league's moral decay. And he wasn't subtle about what he thought it meant, that the NFL had given up on excellence in favor of clout. But when the ESPN panel peeled back the curtain and revealed the real reason behind the decision, that Shedeur was selected as a star character for a made-for-TV event, suddenly Rex wasn't so loud about the facts. Instead of owning up to the mistake, he pivoted, shifted blame. Suddenly, it was about the name Pro Bowl. Not the player, not the pick, just the name. That's not analysis. That's deflection. Ryan didn't walk it back. He didn't correct the record. He tried to preserve his credibility by redirecting the outrage. And that move said more than his original comments ever could, because it showed that for some analysts, protecting their reputation matters more than telling the truth. And here's where Shedeur took control, not with a loud rebuttal, but with a masterclass in poise. His public response? Cool, composed, and respectful. He thanked the league, expressed pride in representing Cleveland, emphasized the opportunity to grow and learn from other top players. Not 1 ounce of defensiveness. Not a single attempt to jab back. He let the professionalism speak for itself. But the real mic drop came from what he said privately. According to sources close to the situation, Shedeur addressed the controversy with one line. My resume will say Pro Bowler, and their resume will say bitter critic. Simple, direct, devastating. Because that's the truth, isn't it? Years from now, all the noise will be forgotten, but the record won't be. The critics don't get to rewrite that. No matter how loudly they scream about what should have happened, Shedeur's name will live on that list forever. And no segment ranting about what the Pro Bowl used to mean is going to erase it. This entire ordeal is less about football and more about power, about who gets to define success, about whose opinions shape public memory, and about how new voices, like Sanders, threaten the old guard's control over the narrative. Because for decades, the Pro Bowl was supposed to mean one thing. You earned it. But even that's always been a bit of a myth. There have been plenty of years where players got an on-name recognition, not stats, or filled in because everyone else declined, or because the fan vote turned into a popularity contest. We've seen it all before. But what's different now is that the NFL has stopped pretending. They're not hiding the entertainment factor. They're leaning into it. This isn't just a shift. It's a full rebrand. And Shedeur Sanders is one of the first players to be selected under that new model and take the full weight of the backlash. He wasn't just a Pro Bowl pick. He was a litmus test. And what he revealed is a system in transition, one where media value and narrative relevance are beginning to weigh just as heavily as stat lines, one where the league is investing in characters, not just players. It's uncomfortable because it challenges the idea that sports are a pure meritocracy. But let's be honest, that idea has always been a little romanticized. What we're seeing now is just a more honest version of what's always been happening behind closed doors. The difference is that Sanders didn't flinch. He didn't spiral into a public argument. He didn't try to over-explain. He didn't let the headlines rattle him. And in doing so, he did something very few athletes his age are capable of. He turned the chaos into clarity. By stepping back and letting the facts speak, he gave people a moment to realize what was really going on, that the outrage wasn't about performance. It was about expectation. The NFL expected Sanders to drive conversation. And guess what? He did. Rex Ryan expected Sanders to fold. He didn't. Critics expected Sanders to defend himself aggressively. He didn't. And now, the only thing left standing is the truth. The league made a choice. Sanders accepted. The record is permanent. And the media storm, like all storms, will pass. The lesson here isn't just for Sanders. It's for every young athlete coming up in this new media landscape. You're not just being evaluated for your performance anymore. You're being evaluated for how you carry pressure, how you respond to criticism, how you manage a spotlight that no longer turns off once the game ends. And Shedeur Sanders just passed that test. He didn't just survive the noise. He showed everyone else how to rise above it. And the truth is, the people who are the loudest about Shedeur Sanders not deserving a Pro Bowl nod are the same ones clinging to a version of the league that doesn't exist anymore. The Pro Bowl hasn't been about pure performance in years. It's just that now, the NFL isn't trying to hide it. It's a ratings machine. A made-for-TV flag football event with just enough football in it to qualify as sports content. And in that arena, Shedeur Sanders wasn't just a logical pick. He was the pick. He's got name recognition. He's divisive. He gets people watching, talking, and reacting. Even if half the audience tunes and just criticize him, the NFL still wins. Because in a media environment driven by engagement, hate watching counts the same as fanfare. That's what made Rex Ryan's pivot so revealing. He came out swinging, implying Sanders was some kind of fame-chasing rookie trying to skip the line. But once it came out that Shedeur didn't campaign, didn't push, didn't even know the call was coming until the league reached out. Once it was clear this was entirely a league decision, Ryan's tone changed. Suddenly, he wasn't going after Shedeur anymore. He was going after the Pro Bowl name. If it's just a TV show, he allegedly said, don't call it the Pro Bowl. Like semantics would undo the fact that he'd just gone on national television and misrepresented how the selection happened. Like rebranding would erase how wrongly he'd framed Sanders' role. It was a total rhetorical dodge, and it landed with a thud, because at that point it was too late. The truth was out. The audience had seen the receipts. And Shedeur, to his credit, didn't take the bait. No Twitter jabs. No soundbite rebuttals. Just a dignified public statement. Thanks to the league. Excited to represent Cleveland. Honored for the opportunity. Looking forward to learning from veterans. It was a kind of statement that didn't offend anything. It didn't need to. The facts were enough. What made the whole moment hit harder was what we later learned he said privately. My resume will say Pro Bowler. Their resume will say bitter critic. One line, and it echoed louder than every segment of pundit outrage, because it wasn't arrogant. It wasn't offensive. It was factual. There's no asterisk on the Pro Bowl invite. There's no footnote in the official record. And when the years pass and the drama fades, Shedeur's name will still be there. The critics? Not so much. That's the part that stings the most. Not the selection, but the permanence. Because for people like Rex Ryan, this wasn't supposed to be Shedeur's moment. He hadn't earned it in their eyes. But the NFL decided otherwise. And in a league now driven by visibility, marketing potential, and audience pull, Shedeur fits the mold perfectly. Whether you agree with that direction or not, you can't deny the strategy. The NFL doesn't need every Pro Bowler to be statistically dominant anymore. What they need is people who move the needle. And in that respect, Sanders is a sure thing. The numbers may not back it up, but the reaction does. The media frenzy proved the pick worked exactly as intended. The discourse became the product. And in a twisted way, all the outrage just validated why he was chosen. That's the paradox. The more people argue that Shedeur shouldn't be there, the more they make the league's case for including him. Controversy sells. Narrative keeps the lights on. And this wasn't just a roster decision. It was a content play. And Sanders? He played it better than anyone. Because he didn't try to control the narrative. He didn't fight it. He just owned it. He stayed composed while the critics spiraled. And by refusing to add fuel to fire, he took away their power. That's a level of emotional intelligence most rookies don't have. Honestly, it's a level a lot of veterans don't have. In a league where media pressure can crush a player before they've even found their footing, Shedeur showed the poise of someone who understands a bigger picture. He knows what the league is. He knows what the Pro Bowl is. And he's not pretending otherwise. And the truth is, this is where pro sport are going. The Pro Bowl is just one example. Across every league, across every major franchise, the shift is happening. Honors are being shaped by brand alignment. Engagement is being treated as performance. Public interest is a stat category now, whether the old heads like it or not. It's uncomfortable. It's messy, but it's real. And Shedeur's election wasn't a glitch in the system. It was a system working exactly as designed. A young, polarizing, highly visible player was given a platform at a media-first event. The outrage that followed, that was a draw. The NFL didn't just know it would happen. They counted on it. And this won't be the last time, because if there's one thing the saga confirmed, it's that the league isn't interested in gatekeeping based on outdated definitions of success. They're casting for impact. They're choosing relevance over rigidity. So whether you're a stats purist or someone who sees a value in visibility, you can't ignore what this means going forward. The Pro Bowl is evolving into something new, and Shedeur Sanders, knowingly or not, just became its face. And let's not pretend he didn't handle it with more grace than most would. It would have been easy to punch back, to post cryptic quotes, to flame the critics, but Sanders kept it business. He focused on opportunity, not the noise, and that's what really stuck. Because when the storm dies down, and it will, the only thing left is the way you carried yourself through it. Shedeur didn't just walk through fire. He never flinched. And that says more about his potential than any stat line ever could. So what do you think? Is the Pro Bowl just another entertainment property now? Or does the league still owe players a performance-based system? Was Rex Ryan out of line or just out of touch? Should Shedeur have turned the invite down? Or was accepting it the smartest move he could have made? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like this video if you follow the drama all the way through. Share it with someone still arguing about what the game used to mean. And subscribe so you don't miss the next twist in the ever-changing landscape of sports, media, and reputation. Because the game may be evolving, but the chaos? That's not going anywhere.